Hi everyone, this is Rainy. So today I'm making roasted garlic tomato sauce. So I have about 50 pounds of my Roma tomatoes that I've harvested from my garden, and I've been keeping them in the freezer as I've collected a large amount of them. That's how I have 50 pounds altogether. Right now I'm just washing them. These ones were ones I just threw in here from the freezer, so you can see that they look just fine, and I've actually found that some of the skins already start to peel off, which is great, but I'm not going to actually peel all of them. I'm going to put them in my turkey roaster and then let them kind of soften up a little bit, and then I'll probably put them through my tomato mill. So anyways, let's get started. I'm washing my rings and lids in hot soapy water, and I've got my jars in the dishwasher. They don't have to be boiled, but just cleaned and heated up. Alright, so my 22 quart roaster is completely full right now. I do not have all 50 pounds in there. I'll wait until they've cooked down a little bit before I add the rest. So what's nice about doing this in a slow cooker like this, or a roaster, is that as it's starting to heat up, you can actually start kind of pulling out all these excess juice that you know is just water, and it's not part of the tomato. So then you don't have to cook your tomato sauce as long to get it thicker. So it's pretty cool. I am not the inventor of this, obviously. Lots of people do it this way. So again, I am not a professional canner. I'm doing this for the first time, and you're just along for the ride, hopefully. Anyways, I'll get back to you as these continue to cook down. I'm going to actually put a little bit more tomatoes in because they've dropped a little bit. I think they've been going for about maybe an hour at the most. All right. Look at this little funny tomato. I've been getting a few that look like him. It looks like a chicken. All right, so the recipe calls for basil and oregano down in there. Since I am quadrupling, or I might go 5 times the recipe. The original recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of minced basil and 1 tablespoon of minced oregano. So I'll probably need to collect enough for 5 tablespoons of, or 10 of the basil and 5 of the oregano. So let's get started. Alright guys, so this is all of the basil that I've picked. It's probably way more than what I need. We'll find out, who knows. So I've taken it off the stem, and I've got it down in water, and I'm just kind of agitating it, cleaning it, and then I'll put it through my little spinner to dry it. Here's my oregano, all clean and spin dried. Again, I need 5 tablespoons of that. And then my basil, same thing, cleaned and spin dried, and I need 10 tablespoons of that. All right, everyone, so this is all 50 pounds or somewhere close. It could be 48 to 50 pounds of the tomatoes. They've been in this roaster for about 3 hours, I would say, so they're pretty close to being softened enough that I'm going to put them through the food mill. But before that, I wanted to tell you which recipe I'm using. So I'm using a ball recipe off of their fresh preserving site. And it's called, let's see, roasted garlic, Roma tomato sauce or something like that. And so the recipe calls for 9 to 10 pounds of aroma type tomato, 3 whole heads of garlic that you'll end up roasting. And the tomatoes you're also supposed to roast, like maybe under your broiler or on your grill or something like that. I have 50 pounds of tomatoes. There's no way I'm going to be doing that, but I will be roasting the garlic, and you're supposed to you're supposed to cut the tops off and then put them in aluminum foil, wrap each one in aluminum foil with a little bit of olive oil, and then I think you put them in the oven for a certain amount of time for like an hour at like 350, I think, but you can always look it up on the site too. Let's see, they call for 2 medium onions or 1 cup diced very fine, and then you'll have 1 teaspoon of olive oil basically that you're using to roast your garlic, 2 tablespoons of basil minced, 1 tablespoon of oregano minced, both of those fresh. According to the recipe, I'm not saying that you have to use fresh, but that's what the recipe calls for. 1 teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of fresh cracked black pepper, and then lemon juice concentrate or citric acid that you're going to put into each of the jars for canning. I'm going to actually be using the citric acid because I did buy some at the beginning of the canning season. And it's my understanding that it won't change the taste, where lemon juice might change the taste of your tomato sauce slightly. So I'm going to go ahead and get my food mill out, get it all set up and preps for starting to put these tomatoes through that. Okay, so I'm going to be prepping my garlic, and basically you're going to cut the heads off, and then drizzle a little bit of olive oil on them, and then wrap them in aluminum foil. I apologize for the lighting. I'm having technical difficulties with my overhead kitchen light. It's been giving me troubles for a little bit, and thank goodness those are going to be repaired soon. Daniel and I are going to be having the kitchen remodeled pretty soon, in a month or 2. So that'll be exciting. And so one of the things they're going to be doing is redoing all the ceiling lights. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and start chopping the heads off of these. Okay, so basically just, oh, there we go. And then I will bring you back when I finish getting these all chopped up. All right, here is all of my heads of garlic heads, I guess, with the tops cut off. They're facing down. You want them, the head to be down on the aluminum foil with the olive oil. And I'm about to just seal it up and put it in the oven. Oh, and it's 350 for an hour. You could roast it on the grill with your tomatoes if you're going to roast your tomatoes. And I guess you're supposed to just put it on the grill. Same thing, in aluminum foil with olive oil for 30 minutes on the grill with your tomatoes if you wanted to. All right, let's get this started. So as I'm milling it, the juice is going to come out here, the seeds and the skin over there, and then the juice I'll put back into the roaster that I've already, I took all of the tomatoes out and I have them in 2 different pots. then generally they say that you should remill the skins and the seeds like 2 or 3 times, because there's a lot of meat and juice that still goes out with the skin and the seeds. So I'll do that too. Doing a pretty good job though, that's for sure. So you can see over here all the kind of pulp, you know. It actually did a pretty good job, but I'll probably put it through at least one more time. Alright, and I'll just keep doing this until I get all the tomatoes done. Roasted garlic is done. See, if I squeeze this, you can kind of see the garlic wanting to come out. It smells so good in here. Again, sorry for the lighting. Look at that roasted garlic that I just squeezed out of all of those garlic heads. So delicious. Alright, let's cut up some of this basil. I need 10 tablespoons of it. It's supposed to be minced. About 2/3 of a cup is 10 tablespoons, so. Oh, it smells so good. It always smells so good in here when we harvest any of the herbs. I still haven't gotten through milling all of the tomatoes. This is crazy. I think it's because I didn't core the tomatoes, and so it's struggling to get through the actual sieve or the mesh or whatever. I'm about just over halfway through. All right, all of the basil and oregano has just been added, and I gotta get the onion in here, and then pepper as well, plus all the rest of the tomatoes that haven't made it in yet. Daniel has already stolen some of my tomato sauce for dinner, that beef. All right, so I'm putting in about 4 cups of onion. Technically it's supposed to be 5, but it seemed like a lot. So we're gonna go with 4. All right, guys, got all the tomatoes in, all the seasonings, and now we're just going to let it reduce down a little bit so it's a little bit thicker. It's a little bit thin right now. And I'm gonna start cleaning up all this mess. Daniel actually says it looks like a murder scene, so, which it kind of does. Good morning, everyone. It is the next day, and I had some friends come over last night, so I decided to just can the next day. So I just kept the tomato sauce just warm overnight, and I just heated it back up. Still hoping to get some of the liquid evaporated a little bit more, so it's a little bit thicker. So that's why I've got it turned up. I got my jars heating up in my steam canner. They're ready to go. So I'm gonna just start canning it up. Let's do this. All right. Now, you might notice that I'm still wearing my, not still, but wearing my robe this morning because I've been enjoying my coffee and relaxing on a Saturday. I'm not sure how many quarts I'm going to get here. This is a 22 quart roaster. I'm going to fill this to 1/2 inch headspace. Let's see where we're at. That looks pretty close. Let's take a look. A little bit more. Perfect. Okay. Forgot a towel to wipe the rim. Hold on. All right, so let's wipe the rim. I am using vinegar. Oh, I should probably do a little debubble. This is liquid. A lot of people don't debubble liquid, but we better do it just because. Okay, now let's get a ring. I did hand wash these yesterday, and then I just poured boiling water over them. Okay, finger tight. I'm going to put it back into my steam canner. I believe we're steam canning for 40 minutes. Boy, it smells so good. The house has been smelling so nummy for almost 24 hours. Well, actually, probably is 24 hours. I think I started this process yesterday at like around 10. So when I started weighing all of the tomatoes, seeing how much I had collected, realized I had enough to make tomato sauce, and figured, oh, okay, we better get it done. Okay. Let's take a look. you might think, wow, she's crazy for using something white to clean tomato sauce. And you would be right. Couldn't find anything else quicker. All right, one more with you guys, and then I will finish them all up off camera, and then show you when I have them all in my steam canner. Now, yesterday when I was doing the milling, man, that I definitely learned better techniques towards the end, but I would definitely core the tomatoes next time, because you know, the place where the skin and the seeds come out are just not big enough to handle the core of the tomato, I don't think. So I took my bullet blender and started just barely blending it, because I didn't want to completely blend up the seeds. I definitely wanted to get the seeds out, and so I didn't want to blend all the seeds up too. I do hear that people do that though, that they blend all the seeds and skins in their immersion blenders or something like that, whatever they're called. I don't have one. But I'm sure that's totally fine. I just kind of wanted to try it without the flavor. I don't know how much of an impact the flavor of ground up seeds and skin make. All right, so I'll come back as soon as I have them all in the canner. All right, I am super excited. So they're all in the steam canner. The water's already somewhat heated up, but I still have to bring it up to the temperature that's on the dial, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so once that red dial gets up into the green close to my black mark that you can see right here, then I will start the timer for 40 minutes. Luckily, I read the instructions one more time and remembered the citric acid. Boy, probably a bunch of you guys were screaming, no, and I couldn't hear you. Or maybe I did, and that's why I read the instructions again. So anyways, I gotta pop all the lids off again, add a half a teaspoon of citric acid to each jar, and then put the jars all back on and get it heated up again. All right, so we're at our mark in the green, and I'm gonna start the timer for 40 minutes. Oh, and if you notice my cracked or broken microwave, that's because of teenagers. If you don't want broken stuff in the house, don't have teenagers. Okay, so by the way, this is the citric acid that I put into the jars. Half a teaspoon for quart jars and quarter teaspoon for pints and half pints. Anyways, just wanted to show you guys. All right, the fun part. So the 40 minutes was up, and then I had to turn the heat off, and then with the steam canner, you leave the lid on for 5 minutes. That's part of the processing time that's required for steam canning, so you cannot skip that step. And let's take a look at them. All right, I already hear them popping. That's awesome. And they say never ever tip them, because you'll get food or liquid under the seal. You're supposed to keep them a little bit apart here. Boy, they sure do look pretty. Can you see the color? By the way, these are quart jars. Woo, those popping sound is so awesome. Loving that. Can't wait until I have the remodel done on this kitchen so that I don't have this big old nasty microwave above my stove. It's so hard to get the cans out of the canner. I can't even put my pressure canner on the stove. There's just no room. But tomato sauce. I'm gonna go ahead and get the next batch in the jars and in the canner, and I will bring you guys back when they're all ready so we can see exactly how many we got. But right now we've got 7 done. All right, everyone, so the last tomato sauce is done here. So let's get the lid off. And we ended up with 12 full quarts tomato sauce. It was a little bit less than what I wanted. I was hoping to get 14. I actually got about 12 and a half, I guess, with this one here. So I just put it in my little Atlas jar with a white top, and that'll just go in the fridge and we'll just use it right away. I'm sure Daniel will find something, but isn't that nice looking? Last one had to go down on the cutting board. All right, everyone. I hope you guys have been able to dedicate some time to all of your preserving. I know it's always time consuming, and that reminds me, as one of my close friends, Erica, asked me last night, is it all worth it? And she had mentioned that her the tomato sauce that she had made and canned, it was probably the best tomato sauce that she's ever had or ate. But when you can just run to a store and it costs $4 for a jar, if that in some cases, is it really worth all the growing of the tomatoes and the processing of them and all that kind of stuff for home preserved? And I think that question can't really be answered. It's all a different answer for every single person. But for me personally, I think there's something nice about knowing that you've grown your own food and preserved it, and it's almost kind of a little bit of a hobby. It's kind of soothing, and it's also nice to know that you can do it, that you don't really have to rely on the stores if something were to happen where the stores were a little bit, I guess, depleted for any reason. I know we've had some times like that for the COVID kind of related stuff that's kind of showed us that there is some blunders in the way that we rely on stores and trucking stuff to stores across the United States and stuff like that. So anyways, not to go into big details like that, but I think it is worth it to at least try it, see if you can do it, and just know that you have that as a backup plan for any time that things in the world are not looking sane, I guess I would say. So as always, be kind and wander well.